You joining us. We got just a few weeks to go. The primaries, anybody's guess right now. Is that typical or not?
Well, it is typical, actually, when you have an open seat for the presidency. But I have to say, for some reason, I think we're all surprised. The most surprising development really is what's going on the Democratic side. Is that it feels like deja vu all over again for Hillary Clinton. Just on the precipice of the Iowa caucuses, what does she find? There is a group of Democrats that seem to be having a pause about jumping on the Clinton bandwagon. It happened 8 years ago. Barack Obama was the beneficiary. It's happening again. Now, this time, these voters aren't yet moving to Bernie Sanders, but they're sitting in undecided. So it has been fascinating to watch. Look, the Republican side's been chaotic for 6 months, so I'm not surprised there. It's the fact that we have it on both sides that's astonishing.
Yeah, it sure is. And two debates right here in Charleston in 3 days, Chuck. How big a role does this state play in all of this?
Well, I'll tell you, it's going to continue to play a bigger and bigger role. Look at the gap of time between the New Hampshire primary and the South Carolina Republican primary. By the way, someday we're going to get the two parties in South Carolina together to agree on one date so that we can have both primaries on the same day, but not happen in this cycle. But there is a large gap, and it's the last large gap of no primaries between New Hampshire and South Carolina we're going to see. I suspect the South Carolina Republican primary is going to be as decisive and as nasty as it was in 2000 between Bush and McCain. On the Democratic side, what South Carolina could represent is, if worst case scenario for Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders sweeps Iowa and New Hampshire, well, then it becomes South Carolina as the Hillary Clinton firewall, the sort of the too big to fail primary that she has to win in order to save her candidacy.
Maybe a must-win situation for her here in South Carolina. Yeah. Let's talk about last night's GOP debate first. It is crunch time, of course, for the Republicans. Has this turned into a three-man race with Trump, Rubio, and Cruz? Maybe Chris Christie thrown in there as well, or no?
Well, I'll tell you, it felt like a three-way race to me last night. It felt like all the moments really involved Rubio, Cruz, or Trump. And you're right, Christie, and I'd throw Jeb Bush, they were trying. They're sort of in that second tier now of this campaign. They were trying to get involved, but ultimately you saw the sharpest divides and the sharpest elbows were between Trump, Cruz, Rubio. Not yet between Trump and Rubio, but those three were there. And it matches what we're seeing on our polling, too. So when you see where everything is going, it did feel like for the first time at any debate that there was true separation in this field. We have a first tier, it's those three. There is a second tier, it's Christie and Jeb, and then there's everybody else.
Yeah, a lot of personal attacks in these debates as well. We're going to see more of that or less of that leading up to Iowa?
Boy, I assume, you know, the one surprising thing to me has been how few negative ads have been aired against Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. All of the nasty TV ads have been focused either on Rubio or Christie or Jeb Bush. For some reason, Cruz and Trump have only seen nasty take place at debates. I think that's going to accelerate on the TV ad front as well.
Chuck, the Republicans were here yesterday. This Sunday, the Democrats are here. And like you said a little bit earlier, Hillary Clinton is basically getting it from everywhere, all sides. Can she survive this?
Yeah. Well, look, she is. This is the moment that she starts turning things around, when her back is against the wall. If you think about the history of her political career, just when it looks like, oh my God, can she, you know, she sort of pulls a rabbit out of her hat. Think about what happened about 4 months ago in the run-up to Benghazi committee, the lost emails. You know, it really looked like Joe Biden was thinking about running. That was a moment of, oh my gosh, what's happening here? And she pulled her Benghazi rabbit out of the hat and seemed to get through this. So never underestimate her. I mean, to ask Barack Obama, he thought he had her defeated about 6 times before she finally conceded. So I don't think this is going to be easy for Bernie Sanders, put it that way.
Yeah, but Bernie's just sitting back enjoying all this, isn't he?
Look, I keep asking, and somebody close to him admitted to me, he's already, in some cases, he's already won, right? He got what he wanted originally out of running for president, which is relevancy. Well, now all of a sudden he's tasting the brass ring, and I think now the goal has changed for him. That's for sure.
Finally, Chuck, GOP candidates, you know, they got 7 guys on one stage, 3 in a preliminary debate, so they got 10 still talking. 3 for the Democrats will be here Sunday. What do you think are the main issues, and can we get into it a little more because there aren't as many people on the stage?
I think you're going to see in the Democratic side, obviously, look, it's clear that Hillary Clinton is ready to pick a fight with Bernie Sanders. The campaign certainly is, and she's never shied away from it when that's the goal. I think we're seeing that that's going to be the case. By the way, how important is this to her? She's decided, and in a surprise to me, both Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton are going to come on Meet the Press on Sunday. because I think they're trying to set up potential exchanges that they want to have for the debate that night. Look, I expect health care, what to do with Obamacare going forward. I think that's going to be some sharp distinctions there, and I expect you're going to see a lot more on guns again. And then, probably on Wall Street, because that's what Bernie Sanders went up with in his first comparative or negative ad, depending on your point of view.
What do you want to know from them on Meet the Press? What's the first thing you want to know from Hillary and Bernie?
Well, I think when it comes to Hillary Clinton is how did she get here again? Well, how did she underestimate the mood of the electorate? How did she underestimate the strength of Bernie Sanders? For Bernie Sanders is, okay, what's your next act? How are you going to go to win this thing? Where are you and President Obama? I mean, President Obama is very popular, but in many ways, and this is the point Hillary Clinton is trying to make, and I don't think she's been able to pull it off, is make the point to Bernie Sanders, to Democrats, that Bernie Sanders, he wants to eliminate some of the things that President Obama fought for because he didn't think they went far enough in the progressive direction. Now, I think there's some idealists that believe that, but there may be some Obama loyalists that don't like that. So getting Bernie Sanders to walk that line and how much he's willing to accept Obama policies and build on them versus eliminate them.
All right, Chuck Todd, NBC's Meet the Press. Appreciate the time.
You got it. Thanks.